Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really fascinating stack of materials you sent over this week, mainly built around the Shift Register issue 26.
Yeah, that's right. It's aimed at, well, tech folks in business, but also just enthusiasts, really. Anyone tracking what's happening.
And the core theme, the big one, is AI convergence.
Exactly. And this isn't just, AI getting smarter in isolation. We're talking about AI merging with physical things, robots, actual hardware.
Right.
And even biocomputing, which the source calls wetware, plus these huge digital platforms that kind of run everything now.
Okay, so that's our mission today, to really dig into this convergence,
Mm-hmm.
because the materials suggest it's unlocking incredible power.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, opening up these, catastrophic vulnerabilities. It's described as a frontier and a fault line.
That's a perfect way to put it. And, convergence itself isn't new, is it, if we look back historically?
Yeah, the media example.
Right, like Ted Turner grabbing Time Warner, and then remember AOL getting folded into that whole thing?
I do. Or NBC and MSN merging, which eventually led to Comcast owning, well, both the content and the pipes.
Exactly. And the result back then was fewer companies, right? Massive centralization.
Fewer choices, more power in fewer hands.
And that's the pattern repeating now, but the stakes feel much, much higher. Back then, it was about controlling distribution, what shows you watched, how you got online.
Okay.
Now, with AI, this convergence of engineering firms, computing giants, maybe even biocomputing, it's about controlling capability itself.
Wow. Capability. That's a fundamental shift.
It's not just concentrated risk, it's like exponentially greater risk because it touches everything.
That idea, that centralization of capability, really sets the scene for what follows. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. So where do we start? Maybe with AI getting physical, leaving the purely digital world.
Yeah, let's do that. Because the hype seems to be over, and we're seeing actual physical manifestations, but sometimes with a pretty dark edge.
Definitely dark. Look at defense and law enforcement. The material points to a startup in San Francisco right now building humanoid robots.
Humanoid robots.
Yeah, specifically designed for combat missions. This isn't some lab experiment. It's engineering for the battlefield.
That's straight out of the Terminator, isn't it?
It really echoes that. And then you flip to the domestic side and you see ideas like Mark Benioff, the Salesforce CEO, suggesting artificial intelligence robocops for San Francisco.
Robocops. Okay, so the immediate question that jumps out is accountability.
Exactly.
If one of these AI cops, violates someone's constitutional rights, who's responsible?
That's the classic convergence trap. The responsibility gets completely fragmented. Is it the company that coded the AI?
Or the police department that deployed it?
Or maybe the human officer who sort of signed off on its use? Convergence creates this, accountability black hole.
Which is incredibly dangerous when you're talking about policing or warfare. High-stakes stuff.
Absolutely. And then, just to add another layer of sort of sci-fi becoming real.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, the material mentions a head form. They're making these incredibly lifelike replicas.
Replicants, like Blade Runner.
Pretty much. Mimicking human skin, even emotional responses. The line between machine and, us, it's getting really blurry.
Blurry is an understatement. Wow.
And even just looking at the state of the hardware itself, there are funny contrasts.
Like the Tesla bot.
Yeah, the Optimus robot handing out Halloween candy in Times Square. Great PR photo, right?
Uh-huh.
But then the analysis immediately points out, it's still quite less dexterous than Figure's robots.
Right. So performance, actual capability is what matters, not just the photo op.
Precisely. And that drive for performance seems to be pushing engineers into some really strange territory.
You mean beyond just silicon chips?
Way beyond. We're seeing performance being boosted by actual human biology now.
Okay, that sounds like the wetware you mentioned earlier.
That's it. Biocomputing. You've got scientists, I think, in Swiss labs nurturing these tiny clusters of actual human brain cells.
Wait, actual brain cells? To run computers?
To power computers, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just trying to mimic the brain. It's harnessing the, incredible efficiency of real neurons for complex problems silicon finds hard.
That's wild.
And it's not just theory. There's an Australian company mentioned that's already renting out compute time on human neurons.
Renting brain cells. Okay, so the drive for a computational edge is pushing into biology itself.
It absolutely is. So, if machines are starting to use biology, what are humans doing to keep up, physically speaking?
Right. The material suggests we're augmenting ourselves.
Yeah, basically to compete with the machines we're building. Look at Nike's Project
To
Amplify.
power shoes.
Essentially, yeah, they call it the world's first powered footwear system. It's basically an exoskeleton sneaker.
To boost leg performance.
Right. It's a clear sign that this race for physical capability, it's driven by converging tech, and humans are now using that same tech just to, stay in the race.
That has a really powerful image. We've gone from these almost unbelievable future visions to looking at the very foundations these converged systems run on, the digital side.
Mm.
And that's where things look, well, incredibly fragile.
Yeah, this is the other side of the coin, the risk of cascading failures. It's amplified massively by centralization.
Because convergence means everything is linked.
Exactly. All these interconnected systems, they lock their weaknesses together. So when one major part, like a big cloud service, wobbles.
It's not just an inconvenience.
No. Entire industries, social functions, they just tremble globally.
And the sources were specific here. That recent AWS outage, for example.
Oh, yeah. That was huge. It knocked out things like Canvas, the online learning platform.
Which is used by, what, half of U.S. college students?
Half of them suddenly unable to get course materials.
Wow.
And it wasn't just a quick fix. For some businesses, the disruption went on for days because critical stuff like software licensing data was stuck in the cloud outage.
And the underlying vulnerability is that concentration, isn't it?
That's the core problem. Something like 60% of all cloud services run on just 3 providers.
3 companies globally.
Yeah. And AWS, Amazon's cloud, has the biggest share, around 30%.
So you combine the critical nature of all this AI convergence stuff we're talking about with that extreme centralization.
And a problem in one provider suddenly becomes a single point of failure for, well, practically everything.
And the attackers, the threat actors, they know this, right? They're hitting these central points hard.
Relentlessly. The landscape is just intense. The materials detail that F5 BIG/IP breach, over 266,000 instances exposed.
Good grief.
And maybe even more telling is the constant ongoing campaign against Microsoft's Remote Desktop Protocol, RDP.
What are they doing there?
Attackers are deploying over 30,000 new IP addresses every single day, just probing for ways in.
30,000 a day. That pace is just staggering. It suggests any uniform system is just constantly under attack.
Exactly right. Which brings us back to this idea of resilience. Top-down control, making everything the same, it just creates bigger, juicier targets.
So we need the opposite.
Yeah, what the source calls lumpy cybersecurity. Systems that are intentional diverse, agile, adaptive, not homogeneous.
Makes sense. If everything isn't the same, one attack can't take down the whole system. You break the cascade.
Precisely. Prevent that domino effect.
Okay, so resilience for the systems is crucial. But what about resilience for people? That speed difference you mentioned earlier.
Ah, yes.
A task taking a human weeks done by an AI in 1 hour. That single number feels like the most terrifying part of this whole discussion.
It's stark, isn't it? And that raw efficiency, it's not theoretical anymore. It's driving real job displacement right now.
Like the Amazon example.
Yeah. They're planning big cuts, maybe 30,000 corporate jobs. But then there's also this estimate, a plan to potentially replace 600,000 warehouse workers with robots.
600,000, that's huge.
Yeah.
And the analysis suggests the corporate cuts are different.
Well, the inference is that the white-collar jobs, the corporate ones, might be more vulnerable to agentic AI.
Meaning AI that can handle complex processes on its own, like admin tasks.
Exactly. Autonomous agents taking over workflows. Whereas the warehouse jobs, that's obviously physical robots doing physical tasks.
Does the material suggest one type of job loss is seen as, more acceptable than the other?
It doesn't really make that judgment, but it highlights the 2 fronts of replacement. The outcome is the same, isn't it? Massive potential unemployment, just different mechanisms, software agents versus physical machines.
And whichever way it happens, this massive shift leads us straight into the ethical and legal minefield.
Definitely. Especially this idea of distributed agency and the illusion of control.
Meaning, as machines and algorithms start making decisions, who's actually in charge?
Correct. Agency, the ability to act, gets spread out. Responsibility gets fragmented, particularly when AI is doing things like law enforcement or making really complex decisions that affect people's lives.
So accountability again?
Profound ethical and legal questions about it. Our technology is just racing ahead of our laws and our ethical frameworks.
And it's not just law enforcement, is it?
Yeah.
The challenge goes into creativity, into how we share knowledge.
Yeah, the material makes a really strong point about generative AI potentially undermining the foundations of open source software.
How so?
Well, open source relies on knowing where code came from, provenance, clear licensing, this idea of giving back, reciprocity.
Yeah,
Generative AI kind of muddies all that.
right.
And you can apply that argument much more broadly, can't you, to almost any human creative work. If AI ingests everything humans have made and then reproduces it, what does that do to the value of the original human effort?
That's a deep question. This whole deep dive has been, frankly, a bit overwhelming.
It's a lot to take in.
If we just sort of zoom out for a second, the material notes something interesting. We're living in this time where almost everything science fiction predicted seems to be arriving.
Yeah, it lists things like clones, handheld computers that talk to the world, quantum computers, rockets that land themselves.
All happening now. Technological miracles, really.
Unprecedented pace, but, and it's a huge but, they're arriving alongside these incredible risks we've been discussing.
The security fragility, the potential for mass job loss, those really unsettling dystopian echoes, robot soldiers, AI cops,
It's definitely, as the saying goes, interesting times, complex times.
which suggests this convergence needs more than just smart engineers.
Oh, absolutely. It demands incredible foresight, ethical clarity, stewardship.
Stewardship, that's a good word for
We
it.
have to guide this thing, right? We need to actively weave together the technical skill with really deep, proactive, ethical thinking.
And that brings us to a really powerful question the source poses, aimed right at you, the listener. It builds on that idea of stewardship. It asks, will you craft allies or adversaries?
Meaning, every interaction we have with these systems, every choice we make about how they're built or used is actually shaping AI's future path.
Molding it,
Yeah. And on a slightly lighter note, if you are worried about the future.
which is easy to be after this conversation.
Right. The source did mention this funny bit about the potential golden age of stupidity and the possibility of us becoming AI pets.
AI pets, oh dear.
And apparently, when one AI, Gemini, was asked about the menu options if it ran a human zoo after taking over.
What did it suggest? Please don't say nutrient paste.
No, actually, Gemini had the best options, including Taco Tuesdays.
Taco Tuesdays. Okay, well, maybe there's hope. Or at least good catering in the human zoo.
Huh. Maybe. But it does lead to the real final question for you, listening now.
Right. Knowing the sheer speed and the vast scope of this convergence, and maybe keeping Taco Tuesdays in the back of your mind as the best case scenario.
What tangible step, what concrete action will you take, maybe this week, to make sure you're helping write AI's story?
Instead, just being a character swept along by a co-author, not just a character. That's the challenge.